Hello to everyone out there, and welcome to Music Cafe, the show where you get to see fresh new talent first. I'm your host, Philip Judson. We find local aspiring musicians in the Chicago area who have always dreamed of making it in the music industry, and now we are giving all of you the chance to get to know them. Tonight we are joined by Dave Krupa, Justin Francios, and Varel Prendergast from the band Hopah. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to start by asking you guys, how long have you been together, and how did your band come to be?
Well, I've only joined the band recently, probably about 3 months ago. So these guys have been together for a couple years, right?
Yeah. We, Justin and I were playing since high school together, through college and a few different projects. And then after that, we found a drummer who unfortunately couldn't be with us here today, but Reed. He was with us for 3 years. We were playing with another vocalist, kind of on and off doing shows in the city, but it's been about 8 years that we've been trying to come up with a good sound.
So was the band formed just for fun, or was it something you guys have always wanted to do?
I guess mainly for fun, but you know, this is obviously something that you know, this isn't also the first band that any of us have ever been in. So, excuse me. So you know, it's something that we kind of got together and it felt right. So, just pursuing it a little more.
Yeah, music for us is certainly a fun thing to do, but at some point you have to say, all right, we need to get a little bit more serious about it. And so we're trying to have a good time, of course, but we have very specific purpose in trying to communicate with our music and trying to get up and perform and share it with people. So it's always been a great stress relief and something that without it, without it, we would just end up going through these periods of craziness where we need to get back up and perform and play music again.
So tell us about the unique name Hopah. Where did you come up with that?
Well, it's kind of a long story. It starts from before we played any shows, I guess, obviously, because it's something you need before you play shows. But so we were jamming for a while, me, Dave, and Reed, for like months without writing any songs, just like being real like slackerish about just getting together and like being all just like, let's just jam, yeah, it's cool, you know. And then eventually we're like, all right, we want to play shows, like let's just start writing stuff. Then we got lazy because we had really nothing to work towards. So then just out of the blue, we're just like, let's just book a show a couple months like away. So we did. We're like, all right, let's go book a show. And at that point, we had like nothing. We had no name. We had 0 songs. And then we booked a show that we had to fill 2 hours worth of music. So we just like kind of went on this crazy like learning music and writing songs spree. And we had to come up with a name, and they needed it for the webpage, so we had to come up with something fast. And coming up with a band name is a hard thing to do when you don't have an existing idea already. And you go through all the avenues of like thinking about movies you like, songs you like, characters from books you like, words you think are cool and would work good together in like a band name. You go through the dictionary and be like, oh, this is an interesting word.
Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, the Urban Dictionary, But so I was just thinking about a movie, and I was like, oh, Meet the Parents movie that just came out recently. It's pretty funny. One of my favorite lines is when he's talking about the altar, and he's like, oh, you would know that as a Hopah, because Greg was Jewish, and he didn't know what an altar was. And that was pretty comical to me. So I was like, hey, what do you guys think of the name Hopah? And they were just like,
I had no idea what it was.
yeah, we just kind of.
I don't care. We just needed a name. We had the show at the.
You bastardized.
We bastardized it.
We had been telling people for months, come to this show. We were expecting a huge turnout. We just needed a name. So.
And it was kind of cool because the way we turned it from Hopah to Hopah almost like makes it sound like, I guess we thought kind of like tribal-ish in a way, which like kind of went along with our improvisational style of music. So we're like, all right, this is cool. It's kind of got like that feel to it. So that's where we came up with the name Hopah. It's a nice name to have, actually, because when we play shows, like people get that whole like the Greek Hopah thing going on during shows, and it's a good chanting name.
Nice.
Like, so builds up the energy sometimes just from the name. That's why it is a good name.
So take us through the creative process that you guys go through when writing your songs.
Well, generally one of us will come up with an idea on our own. Occasionally we'll come in and we'll just jam and something will come of that. But usually for a more cohesive piece, someone will bring something in, whether it's a whole progression with some lyrics or just a part, and then we will embellish on it. Justin tends to do a lot of arranging, and he hears a lot of things, changing rhythms and changing tempos, and well, sometimes just completely reworking everything. But we kind of have two different styles, I think. There are the songs that are very much a set piece, and then there are the songs that we have more freedom on, where we can go off on a vamp here. And those long extended jams we tend to reserve more for the live setting, and then for what we'd like to share here are the songs that are a little bit more. They come from your one song. You know how you write. You put things together, I think.
My writing process starts with some extreme light deprivation, booze and cigarettes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Monster.
But yeah, and the Monster when probably the midnight oil starts to set in. But no, it's sometimes things come to you in a flash, and sometimes it's the biggest pain just to get something that sounds worthy to work on. But yeah, it's especially with my lyrics, the way I try and write a story first, build a theme, and so try and write that out from A to Z, and then try and rework little sections of it, and just keep reworking little parts until it's something that you like.
So which do you find more difficult then, writing lyrics or writing music to the songs?
I think they're both difficult. For me, I actually don't like writing lyrics very much. It's kind of painful, but rewarding at the same time. I think writing music is a little easier for me.
I agree. Lyrics are the hard part because it's like a song is cool and it's personal when you come up with the music. Sometimes the lyrics are so personal, and like it's like you have to have tough skin to like write lyrics and put them out there for like be like, all right, this is what I actually think, and to have people make judgments on those lyrics, it takes a certain type of person, which is why I only write music.
And Justin, you're kind of monotone too in singing, so.
That doesn't mean I can't write lyrics though.
That's true. No, but also the lyrical end of it too. I think the singing portion of it, Varel is a heck of a better singer than most people I've ever met. But for me, just to try and come up with a vocal melody, it's harder to express. To come in and start singing, you just feel like everyone's looking at you. We get in the studio and that's cheesy, or what is that? Lyric melody that's just horrible.
Very vulnerable then.
Because
Yes.
you're not as experienced. When you're better at something, the music part of it, playing all the time, you're just more comfortable in it.
So when writing new material, are you guys constantly trying to make it more challenging with every song that you write, raising the bar every time?
I don't know if challenging is necessarily the word. We definitely try and keep it fresh. Try and writing different things, experimenting with new things. I think we all listen to a wide variety of music. So you kind of take inspirations from anywhere, whether it be music or real life or books or anything like that. And just try and, I don't know, to me, songwriting is more about capturing a time, like capturing an emotion. Because I've written songs that I'll play now that I wrote 6 years ago or something, and I can it brings me right back to that moment. So yeah, challenging, and more just keeping it different and interesting to each one of us.
This one is for you, Dave. I hear your profession is making prosthetics. Tell us a little bit about that.
In a way, I hope to tie everything together at some point in my life, but that is, I make prosthetic limbs. I've been wearing a prosthesis since I was a year and a half old. I had a congenital defect and had an amputation when I was a year and a half old. So just through being around that my whole life, gradually fell into the profession, and it's the process of taking someone from after a surgery and working through the rehabilitation and fabricating a prosthesis that's suited to their daily activities and whatnot. But as it relates to Hopah and as it relates to music, there's another aspect of what I'm trying to do, and that's really raise awareness about a problem of lack of prosthetic care throughout the world. And I've had an opportunity to be involved in some work abroad in South America and in Haiti, and now putting a project together where we're going to be trying to fundraise and collect resources to go educate and build clinics abroad. And I see music as one way to raise awareness. So we plan to put together an event that would involve our band and other bands, like a benefit show, things like that. And if you guys are all of a sudden like, we're doing that, really? But that's because it's hard to balance all these things at the same time. And they're both passions, music and doing this. And so, but yeah, that's kind of a random thing. I know.
Very interesting, yeah. So now, if each of you had to choose one musician who's inspired you the most, who would you guys choose and why?
One musician?
Yeah, if you can.
I don't know. It's like the what's your favorite album question. That's impossible.
I would
Anybody
say,
else?
well, I think guitar playing wise, Jimi Hendrix probably, for strictly from playing guitar. And then musically, I'd say probably the Beatles, just from, that was the first music I was ever really exposed to. What about you, Francio?
I'd say in terms of bass players, as a specific bass player, when I draw influence from, I'd have to say number one is Victor Wooten, the guy who plays bass for Bela Fleck and the Flecktones, just because he's the sickest player in the history.
Well, now, if each of you had to choose one musician who's inspired you the most, who would you guys choose and why?
One musician. Anybody else?
Yes, my musician guitar playing is Jimi Hendrix, for sure. And then musically, the Beatles. The first song I remember is Rocky Raccoon. That was and I know you got some inspiration.
Yes, I do, Dave. Thank you for directing it towards me.
I will. Yeah,
Good segue.
In terms of like as a bass player, Victor Wooten from Bela Fleck and the Flecktones, because he took the bass and showed that it doesn't have to be necessarily just a background rhythm type instrument, that it could be up front and actually be doing something that carries a song instead of just supporting it. And then in terms of like just musical ingenuity, I'd have to say Miles Davis, just for his ability to conform within like strict rules, and the same exact ability to be able just to throw out those rules right out the window and be able to still keep it interesting and relevant.
Bro.
Can't say one, so I'll say a couple. Guitarists, I'd say John Scofield, Eric Krasno, just a bunch of just jazz guitarists. I love jazz guitarists. Vocally, I'd say Jeff Buckley, Marvin Gaye. Paul McCartney. I don't know. There's a bunch. I could kind of go on forever, but yeah.
So tell me about the craziest thing that's ever happened to you guys while on stage.
Well, Varel's been with us for 3 months, so I don't know if anything wild happened to you in your past bands. If so, I'd like to.
Well, why don't you guys start? I know Justin's got a story somewhere.
I've never experienced any craziness.
All right, I'm going to tell you about a crazy experience that Justin had on stage once. 2 years ago for Halloween, we decided to do, every Halloween we like to do a show where we're performing as another band. Some other bands have done it. Yes, I know it's not the most original idea, but whatever.
It's all in good fun.
Exactly. So first time we did it, we did the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and we played the entire Blood Sugar Sex Magic album. And Justin played the whole show in his tighty whities. So we were gonna do the sock thing, but surprisingly, we went off stage at the end of the show. We go off stage, we're in the back. We got the sock. Like, all right, come on, let's do this. he's the one in least clothes already. It's like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going up there. I'm not doing it. Like, you're in your tighty whities. All you have to do is put a sock on now. You're in like 5 square inches less fabric. What does it matter to you? So we pretty much chumped out on that one.
All right.
That was crazy.
Well, on the subject of performing, Hopah will be playing a little number right after these messages, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
My grandmother receives Social Security. Social Security benefits help to pay her rent, buy her groceries, and acquire her medications. Whatever is done to patch up Social Security, it will never fully replace your earnings. You know, I'm going to start saving for my retirement years now. I'm contacting my financial advisor to help secure my future. What about you?
Losing my license wasn't enough. Being arrested wasn't enough. Going to jail wasn't enough. Taking that little girl's life, it was more than enough.
Hello and welcome back to Music Cafe. Performing the song Love Gun for us now is the band Hopah.
Got a woman who says she ain't got none of my time, but I just have to tell me when she has my shoes every morning. She hides my boots most every night, and she cries, but I don't ask her where she been. With her mama, she plays the organ, and her papa, he plays the strings, and her brother, he plays the trombone. You should hear my baby sing. I see her smile in the distance. I see her white. She's down now, and she finds she ain't got nothing left for me. Well, her mama, she plays the organ, and her papa, he plays the strings, and her brother, he plays the trombone. And you should hear my baby sing, yeah. organ. In her Bible, she plays the strings. With her brother, he plays the trombone. You should hear my baby sing. Well, I'm telling you, girl, that there ain't no town place to go. If she's feeling something, but I don't know how, she ain't gonna roll. If she's telling me that I'm the only one now, but I keep on thinking with my love girl. Yeah. Well, like I said, her mama, she plays the organ. In her Bible, she plays the strings. In her brother, he plays the trombone. And you should hear my baby sing.
And that was Hopah. And until next time, good night.
Early on, I thought I had things figured out. My path in life, it seems so clear. Had a